All right, let's talk some Baker Mayfield. This was not his best day. Let's just put it that way. I think some people are saying, "Wow, Baker Mayfield sucks now." That's not how football works. Guys don't just fall off a cliff, especially not when the situation around them stays the same. I guess there have been instances. Carson Wentz comes to mind, but it's very rare. The reality is Baker Mayfield, he just had a bad day. Like, it happens, but it was definitely a bad day. And we'll get into the film study and really talk about what went wrong. Although I want to mention up top, because this does matter, apparently he's had some sort of injury, and while he's still playing, so you still deserve criticism. Like, you're out there, so you're on the field. That does factor in. Also should be mentioned, they won. So if anything, I think it's a good thing for Browns fans to look at this team and say, hey, we won despite Baker missing like 10 throws. That's awesome for us. We can still do really well because Mayfield isn't going to miss those throws constantly. And when he starts making them, you'll look even better. So yeah, let's get into the film study and just talk about the many bad plays of Mayfield last week. All right, rapid fire real quick. So this one is going to be a deep shot that Baker just isn't going to hit. I'm just going to show a few of these real quick before I get into kind of breaking down some specific plays. So this next one, what's going to happen here is that Mayfield is going to, again, just kind of overthrow an open tight end into flat. You then have this one where it's not super easy, but he does overthrow a tight end, doesn't give him a chance. We'll go over to this one now, where what's going to happen is that Mayfield throws the ball deep, tight window, tough to blame him entirely, but still did not give his player a chance. You then have this one where Mayfield, a little bit under pressure, so you could blame that, but still massively underthrows Odell. And then finally this one before we get into the other stuff, just overthrowing a screen pass. Never want to see that stuff happen. So not great. Let's now get over to one like this. So now we'll get into the breakdown. Just wanted to kind of show like, okay, I'm not taking these out of context. There was at least a dozen plays where I'm like, that wasn't great, Baker. So right here, it's going to be zone coverage, and you have a tight end who's going to just kind of get into try to get into a gap right over the middle. However, right when this play starts, Mayfield looks there. It's not open, so don't throw it there. Mayfield isn't going to do that, so all that stuff is good. What's weird is that Mayfield's decision-making wasn't that bad in this one. It really was. He was horribly inaccurate. No clue why. Very bizarre. So watch what he's going to do. He then decides to move. He pump fakes a little bit. Eventually, you're going to see Kareem Hunt does a great job of kind of sitting down where he can get wide open. And this one is probably a bit more understandable for Mayfield to miss. It's across his body, so it is kind of a difficult throw. I mean, not kind of. It's a very difficult throw, so I understand it. Watch, Mayfield's throw just sails high. Totally understandable, I think, for him to not make that play, but I also think it kind of goes back to we've seen Mayfield make plays like this. We've seen Mayfield make plays like the ones I've just showed you in that beginning part of this video. He was off today. There's no getting around it. Something like this, where this is kind of the Odell Beckham Jr. aspect of Mayfield, and listen, it's a storyline. If you don't like that it's a storyline, that's fine, but it is a storyline that Mayfield and Odell can't seem to get on the same page. And it is true that you look at Mayfield's numbers, they are better when Odell Beckham Jr. isn't playing. Now, the Browns' overall offensive numbers are better when Odell is playing, so that's kind of the flip side of it. But regardless, what's going to happen is that it's actually a pretty interesting route from Beckham. So he's going to fake as though he's running over the middle like a slant, then get to the outside. That's something you see, but then he's going to actually run deep. So kind of a three-part route here for Odell. And watch how Mayfield, runs a play action. And at this point, they have the poor defensive back trying to cover Odell Beckham Jr. It's Cameron Dantzler, who's a good corner, although he's struggling a bit this year, not the fastest corner. And he's getting burned right here by Beckham just because that's kind of what Odell does to people. However, again, Baker's throw just misses by a mile. Odell never had a chance in that one. I don't actually know if the missed throws were worse in Odell's direction. I just think they were a bit more noticeable because Odell was more open than some of these other guys. That's kind of maybe my theory, although there certainly were some misfires on Odell, but he missed everybody, quite frankly. Like this one was probably the biggest one where this was a big spot in the game, and it's going to be man coverage, Odell in a one-on-one matchup. Take that shot every time, basically. That's the way most people are going to focus this on, especially with a single safety deep. and watch how open Beckham is going to get. Right when this play starts, you're going to notice that, again, a good route, kind of a little bit of a rubber route, and Beckham, the way he cuts to the outside but then goes right back in, I mean, he's completely fooling guys. And in fairness, this is a tough matchup for. I don't know why Harrison Smith is trying to cover Odell Beckham Jr. one-on-one. I don't know what Minnesota is thinking here. Regardless, once again, Odell is wide open, and once again, this just isn't going to be a good throw. I mean, look, it's at Beckham's feet, and it's also a laser, so it's not like he could have reacted to it at all. Just a bizarre throw. If Beckham just lobs one up in the end zone, that's a touchdown. So I don't know what happened there. Again, it's not what we're used to seeing from Baker Mayfield. He's usually pretty accurate. So I don't know why he just started missing throws left and right. I'm not concerned by it necessarily because I've never seen him do this. I don't think it'll happen again, but it certainly was a horrible performance. We can talk about that. And I want to bring up this one as well because I think something that some Baker supporters who don't want to, still don't believe me after showing about 10 of just bad missed throws, they might bring up, well, hey, the receiving core wasn't doing a great job of getting open on this in this game as well. I would say that's probably fair, at least comparative to what we've seen them do in the past. It wasn't their best day, but there certainly was some guys getting open. I feel like you could argue Stefanski didn't have his best game plan, especially in the first half. I thought it was a lot better in the second half, which is also where a good number of those misses came from. But like on this play, it's going to be a good play. It's a good play design, and Stefanski really found his groove later. It's zone coverage, and you have a receiver who's going to run deep, take the deep corner away. You then have a tight end who kind of runs to where that deep corner spot would be. And watch how Mayfield takes the snap, runs a play action, and there is an opening right here. These are throws you have to make, and I can't imagine how frustrating this was as a play caller for Kevin Stefanski, because watch Mayfield just sail that one high. I mean, this was a tough game, and quite frankly, if Mayfield plays like a decent quarterback in this one, they probably blow the brakes off of the Minnesota Vikings. So if anything, I think that's kind of maybe a good thing, you could argue, because hey, at least when Mayfield has his bad day, there's still this many open shots that, they could have basically, you expect Mayfield to never play this way again, and your team is pretty good. So yeah, I mean, listen, it wasn't a great day for him. It just wasn't. Again, I'm not even actually sure what his box score stats are. I don't really care. He did have some, completions. Obviously, I'm focusing on the negative. There were some positives, but this is definitely not the game that we expect from Mayfield. I know the Mayfield to Odell thing is what's going to get the most attention because that's just been the storyline. And I get it, like, that's definitely something when I was watching, live, I'm like, oh, wow, I guess maybe there's a misconnection there. But the more I watch, I think he was missing everybody. Like, that's really what happened. So, not his best day, not concerning either. I think he'll be fine. And I think the Browns, I mean, they're looking awesome. So, hey, Mayfield gets it together. This is an incredible team. So, yeah, that's what I think at least. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And, of course, as always, thanks for watching.